Kelly Houseman is with me today. And Kelly, you're a licensed therapist, mental health advocate, a public speaker, a blogger, a podcast host, a wellness expert. You're in the Metro Detroit area. However, one of the grandest things that I say when you look to the positives of a pandemic is that we look like this now in our boxes.
Yep.
And so people in the box world of, of, of mental health and therapy are finding you, of course, online and speaking to you all across the country. So I'm thrilled to welcome you today and be able to have a moment of your time and grab you and talk to you today on Facebook Live. I think more than ever, during this time, you have got to be super busy.
Yes, I will say with the pandemic, I have never been so full. New client emails every day, practice booming. Obviously, it's good for business, but not the greatest, as you can tell from mental health, if that gives you any insight into the mental state kind of the world right now.
Yeah, I think, we're dealing with kids who had to come home and all of a sudden go to school online. Mm-hmm. And so there's one aspect where our kids are going through, our college kids are going through all that they're going through, but behind the doors of the kids are parents who are all of a sudden struggling with, how do I help my kids, but how do I also maintain my own, mental health? And their lives quickly changed, whether you were a working parent or a stay-home parent. Stay-home parents have a routine, and their routine was quickly shifted and uprooted. And so, certainly all of those things, have changed. And, for the most part, put a really nice, heavy, dark cloud on top of everyone's psyche.
Yep. Yeah, and I love how you said it's really a disruption in routine, whether it's someone who's used to going to an office or a stay-at-home mother used to taking the kids out to different activities. 2020 has absolutely taught us how flexible we can be when we need to. I'll admit I'm not the most flexible person.
Yeah.
I like to know what I'm doing 6 months ahead of time. And this year's been tough for me, even as a professional, with learning how to switch that schedule up and that routine. I don't think anyone has a routine anymore these days. It's tough and it's hard.
It's been really challenging. I had an opportunity to talk to a bunch of young, amazing young teens yesterday, and it was in regards to being an entrepreneur. And I said, the number one key to being an entrepreneur is being flexible. And I said, you guys are ahead of the game here, because your whole life right now is about being flexible, and you're far better at it than your parents, all of us, because you've been forced now in this pandemic to be flexible. But that's not so easy. You and I are a lot alike. We're type A. We have our calendars. I like to say my calendar has a calendar, yes, and my calendar has a scheduler. But is anxiety the main issue that you're seeing? Or, is that the number one? Hello, Kelly, I need you.
Yeah. Dealing with a lot of people with anxiety. And it's interesting because at the beginning of this, I would have thought the anxiety would have been higher, but actually now, we're 9 months in, and I think people are starting to get fearful that I can't go any longer. I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. For us in the North, we are coming into the winter season, and a lot of times people will get seasonal affective disorder just in the winter. And then you add a pandemic on top of this, definitely spiking rates of depression, sadness, as well as anxiety and fear over the future, which is all normal. I often say, okay, I can't fix normal. These are normal emotions, but we can work on how you're going to cope with them.
I like that. I have been guilty in the last maybe 72 hours. I'm not sure why, of saying, I don't know if I can, I'm tired. I don't know if I can deal with this anymore. I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
I've had moments of, I know better, but where I break down, and sometimes it's during the weekends, and we're coming off a weekend where, my husband and I on Saturday night, we're watching yet another movie, having dinner, and I had my laptop. Of course, I was working.
Mhm.
And I said, just you and me, honey.
Yep.
And God knows I love him, and I'm glad, he's my guy. But I just said, I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
And I know better because I'm a pretty positive person, but I'm tired,
Yep.
and then it's Monday morning and I grab my coffee and get going again. But
Yep.
yeah, and here we are. It's 10 days before Christmas. I'm in the midst of Hanukkah. My kids are away, so I'm watching everybody on Facebook doing Hanukkah and being as positive as they can, but everything is different and it's hard. We all know it is. So what's that holiday stress? Like what are some takeaways we can do to say, okay, we know it's different, but we're going to grasp the different and we're going to be okay with it this year.
Yep. Yeah, and a lot of times finding a new tradition. I think the part that causes us so much sadness is holidays are steeped in tradition, whether it's certain family members you'd see or places you would travel to. And that's what's tough, is that a lot of the tradition has been kind of taken from us. So this is the year again, and it's okay to be sad. I have family out of state that I haven't seen in 9 months. So I get it. I know I'm sad right along with everyone. But just because the holidays are smaller this year doesn't mean we can't go big. Doing something bold. I mean, this is the year of difference and pivoting and doing something unique, trying to do something unique for the holidays, doing it big, still cooking your favorite foods. Maybe it's on a smaller scale, but trying to get some sort of normalcy back into your holidays. And also too, the holidays, we just came off the Thanksgiving season. A lot of times this is meant for us to reflect on, okay, what am I grateful for? What do I still have? Or what did I not get this year that I'm grateful for? And taking a second to, I hear it all the time. It's like a broken record. Be grateful for what you have. But I think even if you take 2 minutes and just say like, okay, yes, this is not ideal. I miss my family. I miss my opportunity to travel, but I am still grateful for my job, my health, my family. And
the truth is sometimes if you say it, you start to believe it. And I like what you just said, and it bears repeating. We tried to do it Thanksgiving at our house this year. Thanksgiving is huge in our house, much bigger than Thanksgiving, much bigger than Hanukkah. Thanksgiving is just huge in our house. We are with my sister, we're with my parents. Thanksgiving looked nothing like that this year. And so I was so blessed. I had my 3 kids home, sorry. And I tried to make it all different. I mean, we have never been the 5 of us alone. And so right off the bat, that was different and fun. And we were in, queer just ridiculously weird matching pajamas. And, just my kids were like, "You're so weird, Mom." And I'm like, "Yep, all about it."
Embracing it. Yes.
Yeah, just all about the weird. And, like my daughter was like, "That's so not our family." I'm like, "Yep. Yep. We're gonna play games and be weird in our matching pajamas." But and the thing is that I think what you said about doing something that makes it the tradition this year that you might even bring into next year when you're all back together, and taking a moment to say, I am grateful. And I try and do that. You got to say, I'm grateful, because, the alternatives are always not great. And so, you do have to be grateful. I think, one of the things that we all do notice is we post these pictures and it makes it look, and I'll use myself as an example. Over Thanksgiving, I posted a few pictures and somebody wrote, "You always look like you're having fun."
Mm.
And I laughed and I said, I laughed to myself because I thought, sure I do.
Mm-hmm.
I always look like I'm having fun when I post the picture.
Yep.
And I love when there's certain social media influencers who post the crying shrine baby. And I'm like, oh, thank God they did that.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it always takes me back. You and I did a great story at the holiday. You posted your Christmas card, and you have the most angelic, beautiful kids. They are picture perfect. And that Christmas card was picture perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then you posted really what happened.
Yep. Yep. My daughter having a tantrum on the floor. I think she had her shirt off at one point. And that's the thing with social media. Like, look, I get it. I'm right there too. I always like to put my best foot forward. But I think it's so important to realize that this is just a snapshot in time of what people want you to see. And, and it's often not the reality of what it was, like 2 seconds earlier, you could have been fighting with your husband, or,
Right.
you just never, the kids could have been tantruming. And it's just so important to keep in mind, this is just a second in time.
Right.
Also, too, going back to the influencers, like you mentioned, I did not realize how much Photoshop, apps, editing that people are doing. And that's something to keep in mind too. Like, people see these pictures, you don't realize most of the time they've been retouched. They're not real life. They're not what those people look like first thing in the morning. There's a team behind.
Right. They don't go to bed with makeup and
yeah, exactly. Like, even today, I'm actually doing a photo shoot after this. So like, my makeup's done, my hair is done. If you would have logged on with me a couple hours ago, it would not have been like this. So it's just, keeping some perspective with that as
right.
well.
And I think that goes along with 2020. Like, what our 2020 looks like, what our 2021 might look like. I mean, the reality and the reality versus, what really is going on is a snapshot, and it changes. And I thought it was really interesting, and I appreciated that somebody said you're always having fun, because I'm trying to have fun. And I took the picture, but I laughed because I took a picture of my husband and he was like, "Are you kidding me? I can't." And he like hates social media, and he's like, "I am not taking this picture. What are you doing?" And he was yelling at me, and I'm like, "Oh, it's fun." And and sometimes I put picture I try not to put a lot of pictures of our family on. Mostly my social media anyway is my business, but sometimes the social media for me with my family is good, because it's like I don't do photo albums anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Same.
So it's like, there it is.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but I think it's a good reminder of this, all packaged up into the stress of the holiday, that some people who are sitting by themselves, and then they're seeing the pictures on social media. I think I've heard you say sometimes take a break from social media. If sometimes you have to monitor yourself, like if it's not healthy for you, take yourself away from it.
Yep.
And
yes, being aware. One thing that has been coming up in sessions with me is clients addicted to social media. I've had several of them tell me, I'm spending 5 hours scrolling through social media a day. And the hardest thing is even being aware of it. Because think about it, when you're scrolling, you're not aware of time. You're almost in a different planet. You just scroll and then you look up and gosh, 30 minutes, an hour has gone by. And I say the first step is just really being aware, like catching yourself, like, whoo, okay, there's a picture that I saw that's triggering all these emotions in me. Wow, okay. Even notice like, wow, I'm scrolling on my phone right now. I'm mindless. And then trying to figure out, why am I doing this? Am I bored? Am I stressed? Do I need an escape from something? Am I just doing it out of habit? And trying to figure out, first of all, why you're doing it, being aware, And then you can figure out how to tackle that. But yeah, that's a huge thing too. And especially being at home, you know, a lot of us are bored. We need that escape. We need that connection. And so I always say, do it. Social media can be a great thing, but if it's getting to the point where, again, it's taking hours out of your day. And I always say too, think of what you could be doing with that time. You know, every single one of us is, oh my gosh, I'm so busy, I don't have enough time. But I bet you if we all took a look at our social media usage, we would suddenly find some time to do the things that are more important to us.
Well, and I think that it's a good point because so many people are still at home working. Mm-hmm. And it'd be interesting to note that chances are you should probably be working, or there are just better uses of your time. And clean a closet.
That's what I've been saying. Yes, I said there's got to be projects. Yeah. And also too, like, we're never going to get this time back. We're on the tail end of this. Things are going to get back to normal soon. Yeah. And I would say, like, when I talk to you at the end of next year, you're going to say, gosh, I had all this time at home. I had the time to do these projects. We're not going to get this time back. So let's clean the closet, do it now. Get that stuff done that you've been putting off for years, because, you know, we won't have this time much longer.
You know, it's true. And I'll let you go because I know you have, you know, clients, but I think you raise a really good point. When we started in March, there was a lot more energy towards the cleaning and getting things done. And we've fallen off that a little bit. And I think that the holidays and some of this time in between now, as we enter the new year, we should keep in mind that there are people in need. So if nothing else, you know, as you bring new things back into, you know, wonderful new toys or clothes or things into your home, take the time over the holidays to sort of get things out of your house, even resell them online if you need to, or donate them, you know, however you want to recycle them, but you aren't going to get the time back. It will make you feel good. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's a great way to sort of rejuvenate your, you know, your soul, sort of like, you know, going into 2021. And we're not going to get the time back. We're, you know, this is another thing, like I say, you know, look at what's a positive out of all of this, you know? So Kelly, how do people find you and, you know, tune into your podcast and hear all the things you do? Because one of the things that people can find you to utilize your services, but you offer a lot of great messaging and blogging and podcasts that are just great to listen and tune into. So how do they find you?
All of my contact information, podcast, blog is at kellysreality.com. There's links to my YouTube channel and my podcast. On the podcast, I get to interview celebrities about how they got to where they are and how they best life advice, how they keep their mental health strong. There's some really inspiring interviews on there. So if you're feeling down, if you're feeling stressed, check out those interviews. It'll boost your mental health in under 30 minutes. And check that out. And I'd love to, you know, shoot me an email, connect with me on social media. I love meeting new people. So
I love it. I love it. So you can also definitely look on my media. Kelly is one of my clients. And so I often have great media going on with Kelly. So kellysreality.com, and check out my media because we're always posting when she's talking to the media with great advice. So have an amazing day. Happy holidays. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Oh, and I should say, the truth is that this week we'll see Kelly on Fox 2. And so we'll post that. She'll be on with Rup Raj.
Yeah, we'll be talking about social media. So
for everyone. All right. So great. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.